Thursday, March 30th, 2017, Monaco 64, home of alternative economics and contrarian views. So I apologize for the first WebBot report I did today. I was outside, it was really windy. I didn't realize it was going to cause such trouble with the sound. So I've come back inside and I'm going to do it again here. So yeah, Monaco 64 here. So first of all, to all the viewers who haven't heard of Clif from Half Past Human and the WebBot report, basically Clif technology is called predictive linguistics, and the premise of his work is that he thinks that all psychics have some kind of psychic ability, and that it help, deep down, people know what's going to happen, or it's in their psychic intuition that what's going to happen going forward. So he's got this technology called the WebBots. They scour the internet for data and language, and they give it emotional measurements. And Clif, all that Clif does is interpret that data to try to predict the future. And I've been reading Clif work for almost 10 years. And I have to say, he doesn't get all his forecasts right. But his reports give me a really good view of what, the human psyche is thinking going forward and how it affects human, developments and events. I have to say, it's for me. I've been really my how can I say, my knowledge and my thinking has been enriched by the WebBot reports and reading it. I know he doesn't get everything right, but a lot of the things he's been talking about have been evolving. You have to remember that the April report was done throughout the month of March, and it was published in April. This time, of course, was published on March 30th, but it's not for his predictions for April. It can be very short-term predictions, which is the immediacy data. It can be medium-term or longer-term. It could be 10, 15, 30 years from now, some of the interpretations of the data. I'm going to start out with my summary. It took me over 3 hours to read the WebBot report. I encourage people to buy the report. It's only $15 per report. And I'm just going to talk to you as if I was talking to a friend about what I thought about the report and the interesting parts of the report. At the beginning, he talks about Earth changes, and that's really interesting. He's getting a lot of data and language about a very unstable climate in the Northern Hemisphere. He's seeing the winter continue into spring, and it's not going to be cold all the time, but he said you're going to get really sharp changes in weather, from warm to cold to still some snow. And then he talks about how all of a sudden it's going to be a really hot summer. And the other point he makes about Earth changes is the west coast of the US. He focuses, of course, a lot on the US because that's where he is. And he's talking about a lot of rain in the west coast, which is unusual. And it's going to continue for the next few months, and that's going to also cause droughts more inland in the U.S. It's going to affect crops and everything. It's going to affect as well the Earth's crust. He's talking a lot about seismic activity, earthquakes in the Pacific Northwest, the West Coast, and also in Italy, earthquakes. So that was the most interesting part of the Earth changes, the fact that the weather is going to be really changing a lot, and it's going to get really hot, and in the summer, and despite that, he's getting a lot of languages still, more in the long term, about ice ages. So very interesting. He also talks about global pop. The main gist of his global pop summary or the report is that is going to be a continuing battle between indigenous or European populations against the migrants from from abroad, from the Middle East especially. He sees a lot of conflict between these two in the global pop. He also calls it a pop war, and from then on, he goes to talk about the different populations, like, for example, Scandinavian pop. There's going to be huge street battles between native Scandinavians, white Europeans, against the Muslims or the migrants, and that the political elite in Scandinavia is going to crack down on actually the local population, and there's going to be a lot of problems, not only in Sweden, but also other countries in Scandinavia, which is really unusual because when you think of Scandinavian, you think of very socially stable and wealthy countries, but they're going to get these troubles now with the migrants. What else? Australia pop, the same kind of story. The low, indigenous European population will be at odds with government policy of allowing a lot of Muslim immigrants to come in. Canada pop is different. He's talking about more economics. He says there's going to be a crack up boom in real estate, which basically means real estate is going to go up a lot still in the next few months. But the crack up boom, what happens, it shifts very quickly and then goes down. So that's quite interesting for Canada pop. Commonwealth pop is a new pop he talks about, mainly to do, I guess, with the Anglophile countries, the countries related to the UK for, the past British Empire. And he talks about some kind of financial scandal for Commonwealth pop. China pop, he talks about a lot of social unrest in China this summer, and also a lot of inflation, and that the Chinese population is going to buy into precious metals and Bitcoin to fight inflation. What else? Franco pop, or France, he says in his report that the populist movement is going to win through in the election. So I expect that he thinks Le Pen is going to win. He also talks about CERN and some kind of event in France. He talks about also the Central European pop, like countries like Czech Republic, Hungary, Austria, and Slovenia, how they're going to close off their borders because you're going to have migrants trying to come from Scandinavia and other countries to their countries, and how they're going to develop some kind of alliance of these small nations, and that it's going to lead to the breakup of the EU. Deutsche Pop, or Germany pop, more street fight battles between indigenous Germans and the foreign migrant population. He says the German population, the indigenous, are going to be angry because the migrants are going to try to take over parts of the cities, and create their own territories. So, and he also talks about problems with interest rates and the bond markets and liquidity in Germany, probably to do with Deutsche Bank, the ECB. USA pop, it's the longest part of the report, and the main thing that I get from the USA pop is that we're going to see, the the battle between the new establishment, which is the Trump administration, and the deep state or the old establishment continue. And it's going to be reflected also in the population. He sees a lot of language to do with gold rush, that people are going to be, individuals, mom and pop operations, commercial operation. Everyone's going to be looking for gold because of financial difficulties and currency difficulties starting in the summer this year. What else for USA Pop? Yeah, he's talking about the weather in the West Coast. That's going to have a huge impact. And also some problem with just-in-time delivery that the economy is going to have to develop in new ways to cater for that. He talks about how local governments or municipal governments, county governments some are going to be running out of money and resources, and how people are going to develop their own little, communities privately. And he says that the local governments are going to go before the federal government. Talks also about the Federal Reserve, how the meme of "and the Fed" is going to be a big meme going forward from this summer onwards. And that he also talks about how the Democratic National Party, the Democratic Party, is going to have huge financial problems. They're going to have no funding, and it's going to lead to them losing the next election in 2018. So now I move on to the markets entity, and he's done he's got a new way of coming out of the markets entity. He's divided into cryptocurrencies, metals, and debt, which I thought was quite good. It makes it a little easier to go through it. And in the cryptocurrencies, he focuses on Ethereum, Bitcoin, and the other alt currencies. He says that yes, some of the alt currencies like Ethereum are going to keep going up, but he's getting a bit more medium-term language for Ethereum, for example. That's like Bitcoin language he had in 2013 before Bitcoin had a huge correction downwards. As far as Bitcoin, the forking is concerned, all the talk, he says that's very short-term language. He doesn't see that going forward, and he doesn't think that's going to impact Bitcoin in the long term. He's still seeing Bitcoin at $10,000 or $13,000 in 2018. He sees gold at $4,500 in 2018, and the language and the data is showing that Bitcoin is going to be used even by some funds and some sovereign wealth funds for smaller countries and smaller central banks. They're going to have to hold Bitcoin. And the main comparison he makes is that the altcoins are more speculative, and Bitcoin, because of its reputation and the fact that it's been around longer, is going to be is more of a store of wealth, is going to keep doing well. So he's not worried about the forking on Bitcoin. To the metals, the main data and language in the metals talks about this gold rush, how people are going to be looking for gold, be it individuals, corporations, big mining companies. He talks about how gold and silver, there's not going to be any gold and silver around. There's going to be no offer. Physical gold and silver are going to be hard to come by. And this is starting from May or June towards the end of the year. And the main reason for gold and silver doing well, he sees is a breakdown in the credit market or a credit freeze. You do know our fiat money system is based on ever-increasing credit. If the credit seizes up, the system implodes, and that's what the language is showing him. There's going to be not a collapse of the system, but it's going to be a destruction of the system, as he explains. Because in a collapse, like in 2008, you can have a rebound. The system doesn't destroy itself. But he's now seeing a destruction of the system. And that's going to be heating up, I think, you know, over the summer and fall, according to him. You need to read the report. I mean, I don't have anything in front of me now. I've read the report. I'm just telling you what I remember and, you know, from my memory. It's not exact, but it's the gist of it. What else for the metals? Let's see, gold and silver. Yeah, oh, well, silver. He says that the language of gapping language, which he's had in previous reports, is getting more and more, you know, abundance for silver gapping. So that means that you're going to have price gaps from 20, 22, 26, 32. He even says that you're going to have days of silver moving $20 in one day, which is huge. And he also says that there's going to be a battle between Bitcoin and gold to see which one gets to $2,300 first. That's going to be a meme out there. And the debt markets, yeah, he talks about how the credit market is going to freeze up, and that's going to lead to a collapse of commercial real estate, insurance companies, and the central banks are going to try to throw more money into it, and it's not going to work. And he's seeing a lot of language for hyperinflation. So space goats farts. That's his last section before the conclusion. He talks about the fact that there's going to be a lot coming out of Antarctica, and that's how that's related to new technologies for silver, rejuvenation, old, you know, like old, how can I say, civilizations. The relics of it are going to be found in Antarctica, and how like an official representative of a country is going to be there with a celebrity, you know, a government official, not a major country, and it's going to be coming out a lot of stuff about Antarctica. The conclusion, Clif says that, you know, humans, you know, he's talking about humans, and that the fact that we were created to be slaves. So he says, and that our DNA is like wired so that we respect authority, and that's how you know, we've been wired, and that you know, there was an old great war between civilizations thousands of years ago, and a lot of the stuff that we see today, the ancient you know, like ruins, like in South America and Egypt, all to do with these clash of civilizations and wars, and that the people who created us supposedly left the earth for another planet or whatever, and that we were left here with these people who are the powers that be, you know, the people who've been running us, and who instill fear in us, and who make, you know, and our DNA makes us, you know, like respect them. But he says that the powers that be are scared because a lot of people are waking up, and he said, you know, and he says that the DNA can change, and some people are, you know, losing their fear and you know, respect for authority. And he goes on to say that the Vatican, the reason why they've spent millions having telescopes all over the world, is because they're concerned that the people who created us are coming back. And so that's it. That's the WebBot report for April 2017. I'm sorry about the previous video and all the wind. I hope this is better now. If you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up. Share it far and wide. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please do. And if you'd like to donate to my channel, there's some links below in the description. Take care. Bye.